Baik, salam sejahtera dan selamat datang ke episod ke-28 podcast Berbual Berita Harian. Podcast yang membincangkan berita, ihwal semasa dan isu-isu yang dekat dengan hati masyarakat Melayu Singapura lah. Saya Hadi Saparin dan bersama saya hari ini ialah Khairul Akmal. Dia buat penampilan pertama, can say debut lah.
Debut.
Berbual. So, selamat datang.
Okay. Terima kasih Hadi.
Please deliver your lines properly.
Okay, terima kasih Hadi. Okay, anda boleh ikuti podcast Berbual ini di laman web Berita Harian www.bh.sg/podcast, di Spotify dan juga di YouTube Berita Harian Singapura. Tekan saja butang podcast di YouTube channel kami dan anda boleh lihat senarai episod-episod Berbual dan podcast-podcast lain terbitan Berita Harian seperti Notapis dan Kaki Bola. Jangan juga lupa untuk like dan follow Berita Harian Singapura di Facebook, Instagram dan TikTok untuk sedutan podcast Berbual dan juga kandungan digital kami yang lain. Okay Hadi, take it away.
Good job. Okay, boleh? Okay, I mean like from izin saya berbahasa Inggeris lah. From time to time we do have non-Malay speaking guests on our podcast. So we do speak English, but thankfully today we have a non-Malay guest, but he's very comfortable in Malay, so we speak in Malay lah. Boleh coach?
Tak boleh lah.
Tak boleh. Yeah, so very excited and very very honoured lah to have Singapore football team head coach Gavin with us today. Welcome Gavin to Berbual BHS podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here and let's get the show started.
Yes, man, that's right. So how has it been since the Hong Kong win? I'm sure. I mean, you've been on the tour, so called. Seen you on several podcasts, interviews. You know, so how has the experience been for you?
First and foremost, I think I still struggle to find the right words to describe how we felt after the final whistle. You know, it's just such an amazing moment and experience. I think for those who were there, those were some of the unforgettable kind of memories that I think you'll probably keep with you for a long time. Mm-hmm. You know, that ever since we came back to Singapore, that welcome that we had at Changi Airport, that was quite special as well. Yeah. You know, and then after that, once I've got the privilege to take the job, then you know, a little bit of media duties. Right, but it's all good because people just want to relive the moments, relive the memories, and I'm just happy to be able to share that kind of memories with everyone. Yeah,
I'm glad. You know, I think the affairs management and leadership, I think they understand football and media. You know, and sports in general. It's all about personalities. You know, you gotta build personalities. You gotta know the personality for us to be interested, invested in the game, you know. So I think you guys are doing a good job in terms of your media appearances, although I'm sure it's very tiring lah, you know. But we're very excited in BH when you got the job because you're all rooting for you lah. You must be.
Thank you.
Except for Kai, I think
excuse me,
you were a bit excited.
He was the one in Hong Kong, so he's got my back.
That's right. You got read what I write or not?
Alright. Okay, coach, we'll talk a bit more about Hong Kong and
Sure.
your personal experiences later. I just thought that we go straight into some of the key things that we want to talk about with you today lah. You know, I mean, the Singapore football head coach position, I guess, is, you know, you've inherited one of the most scrutinized job in local sports, I must say. So, for you, what are the non-negotiables that you must deliver immediately, you know, before or leading up to the Asian Games?
The process of preparing ourselves for the Asian game is not just from a few days, right? It's a whole journey. I think that the journey started since we qualified from Hong Kong, right? And then shortly after Hong Kong, then we're already laying down the plans as to what we think it's important for us to prepare ourselves the best way for Asian Cup. In terms of the kind of friendly games we want to play, the kind of oppositions we want to play, the kind of camps that we want to have if possible, you know. So these are all very important fundamentals that I think would contribute to our journey as we prepare for this very prestigious tournament, right? But obviously it's not all, we are very idealistic with our plans, but at the same time there will be challenges and obstacles as always, and our job is to just find ways to navigate that so that again we arrive in the best way. And then in terms of like what you mentioned, non-negotiables, I think our players have arrived to a stage now where we know the kind of standards and expectations that we have for ourselves, because I think, especially after the night in Hong Kong, I think hopefully the boys really deeply understand the impact of the national team, you know, and with this sort of power comes with great responsibility, and for us the non-negotiable is that we never take a single day for granted when we put on that jersey to represent the country, and that's so important for us.
So in terms of, I mean, a lot of the interviews we spoke a lot about Asian Cup, which is of course, you know, the thing that propel you to the kind of situation you are in now. But we also have the ASEAN Championship in July, which, you know, it's not the Asian Cup, but you know, it's a tournament that us football fans look forward to.
Yeah.
Testing ourselves against the region's best, and this time round it's
semi-finals.
FIFA sanctioned also.
Correct,
right?
FIFA sanctioned.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's not.
So players can still not be recorded.
Yes.
Released.
So when you mention that, then the one of few things I was going to say that the challenges we face in the last AFF is probably going to be the same challenges we face again, and
I see.
And the question is, how do we navigate that as an organisation to find the best kind of platform for ourselves?
But I guess it helps that it's held in July, where most of the seasons are over.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But again,
but what is your objectives and you know, for the tournament?
So I think I think I mentioned this before. When we go into any new competition or tournaments and stuff like that, the objectives are not determined by me alone. It's determined as a squad, as a team, as a player, because with the players and the staff. Because I can say one thing, but if people don't buy into it, then there's no point, right? It must be a collective goal, and it's called collective goal for a reason, because everybody arrived to a consensus that that's what we want to achieve in this competition. And going to AFF will be the same, you know, as how we approach the Asian Cup qualifying campaign. It's like, what do we want as a group, right? Do we think it's possible? And if we think it's possible, then what kind of behaviors do we need to get us there? Right, so I cannot sit here and tell you that, this is what I want or what we want, right? Because until I sit down with the boys that are available for the competition, let's just put it that way, and we come to a consensus together, then I can address everybody against that. This as a group, that is what we want to achieve, and we're gonna do our best to get there.
I see. But the last time round, the team managed to get to the semi-finals against Vietnam, and unfortunately we lost, right?
Yeah.
But would you say this time around the minimum would be the semi-finals, or?
Okay, look, if you know the boys that we have, they're all competitors, they're all fighters in that sense, you know. And if I go there and say, like, look, we just want to have fun and enjoy the experience, I don't think anybody would really feel for that, right? And because, like you said, the last AFF we had, again, a very nice memory playing at Jalan Besar. It was a full Jalan Besar we played against Vietnam, and it was amazing. And I'm sure the boys will tell you that we want to do the same, if not better, right? But like I go back to, when we make such statements or goals, right? It has to come from a team, right? Because I don't kick one ball, you know. I wish I could, but the ball is kicked by the players. So the players must be part of the journey. The players must be given a voice before we arrive to any conclusion.
You speak a lot about collective objectives. I know I'm reading interviews that you've done. I think you're that sort of personality that wants, you know, collective kind of responsibility, collective objectives, and also thanking everyone that's in the process, right? But just in terms of your personally, your personal KPI as a head coach, you have 18 months, right? So if you understand about this collective objective, but I'm sure within you have your own personal KPIs that you set for yourselves.
Like you said, I think you've read quite a few of the interviews, and I think I probably said it in every interview. My personal goal is to leave the shirt in a better place, right? And because national team, something I've referenced before, it's an infinite game, right? When it comes to senior men's national team, where there is no sort of a definite finish line, right? You always have what's next, and in 100 years to come, there will continue to be a national team, right? And so my job right now is I'm responsible for this part of the journey of the national team, and it is very important to continue progress from where we started. Can we, when we leave, have a even higher platform for the next guy to come in? You know, and that's something very important for me, right? Is to make sure that when the next guy comes in, he starts off at a higher place than when we started. Like when Coach Ugura left the national team for us, it was in a better place when he first took it on board.
Okay.
Right, so this is how we could help sustain progress.
Speaking of Coach Ugura after taking over from him, what about Gavin's national team? What does Gavin's Lions look like?
It's a tough one, right? Because I'm not one to sit down here and say my philosophy, right? Because ultimately, I think football, most important for me is the players must enjoy playing whatever kind of football we want to play. The fans must enjoy watching whatever kind of football we play, because at the end of the day, what we do on the pitch serves a few purpose, right? Is to give people that sense of inspiration, hope, joy in that sense, and so through our performances, they must be able to see that, and that, I mean, if you think just quite simplistically, I mean, the bare minimum we always ask ourselves is like, we never give up. We, until the final whistle is over, we always empty our tanks. We're 100%, we're all in. You know, these are the things I think people can relate to, they resonate with, and those are very important attributes for us. And along the way, if we can play some pretty football, then that's a bonus.
I think you're being very humble, Coach. Because I think, you know, one thing that I like about your team, since the first day you took over, I thought that there's a certain pattern in play that I really like. I don't know if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Shahiran's play as a left back, but it's all, when we're attacking, it's always in the middle of the pitch, right, controlling things. So, you know, almost like an Amorim kind of system, you know.
Wrong comparison, not now. Just last.
No, but is that something that I see that quite often in matches, you know, and this kind of inverted plays that you do. And I'm sure that's, we don't see that before Gavin took over, you know.
Stop revealing secrets. No, I'm kidding. No, again, football is not complicated. Ultimately, when we arrive to each game day, it really depends on. And the national team is quite unique because before the window, you're not quite sure what condition each player is in, right? You might have the best laid plans, and then one day before the window during a club game, touch wood, somebody injured, then it's like, oh. You know, so ultimately a lot of times it's about when we do arrive into the window, into the game, we've got certain bigger intentions of how we want to play the opposition. Then the question is, okay, which players are in the best possible shape, if you like, to support this intention. And for some of the games, we thought that Shah is best to perform this because it helps us in attack to do a few things. Then we do that. But I think, like you saw I'm not sure if you saw it when we played Thailand. Then we didn't do that because we had a slightly different approach, and Shah was playing in the middle. So that's just an example of it really depends on who the oppositions are, how they defend, how they attack, and then for us is how we want to counter that and which players are available, and then we find a solution. So no magic in that.
Would you say that is one of your strengths, the adaptability? Depending on the opponents and depending on what we have.
But to be honest, this is what every coach does. You know, they analyze oppositions, they try to find solutions, they find the perfect mix of players, and then go with it. You know, and sometimes you get positive performances from it, sometimes you don't, and then it's just back to the drawing board and how can you improve again.
There's this limited pool of players. I mean, we all understand Singapore's talent pool not that big. Does that also affect how you plan long term in terms of the strategy they're going to put forth for the national team?
It really depends on how far long term you're looking at, right? If you're just looking towards the Asian Cup in that sense, we've got I think 12-13 months to it, and so ultimately in this 12-13 months, it's about, again, monitoring our players, the current pool of players we have, and then potentially who can step into that mix to contribute to that pool. and yeah, you know, with each window, which players are available for us and who we think are the best mix for the composition of the team, and then we call them up, and might be new faces, might be old faces, but ultimately we are looking what's best for the team, and the current pool of players is our ingredients to work with, you know. So for us, it's about finding the best recipe to make the best meal out of this set of ingredients.
I mean, I just want to pick up one point before we move on to the other questions about you want to give Singapore a team that they can be proud of, right? You mentioned a bit in the earlier interviews and here as well. So what kind of team or behaviors of the team that would define that for you, team that we can be proud of?
I flip it to you. What do you think? What do you want to see? Because when you watch the game,
I think we are all quite realistic. We don't expect the Lions to win every match. You know? But like the Thailand game when we lost, right? Yeah. And I thought there was fight, right? There was spirit. I think there was also a pattern to play. When you watch, actually, you don't get bored lah. Like you have every 3 touch lose the ball kind of thing, right? So that kind of passion that you mentioned about our players are fighters, right? But you don't always see that previously, you know. They are the same players, but they don't perform like how we see them performing in the last maybe 3 months now.
And I think you are spot on, right? I think this is something that we spoke a lot about inside the team, and obviously we've made certain actions to try improve it. But ultimately, when we are on the pitch, everybody must understand why they're there, you know, and the responsibility of the shirt. And I think we have some great characters that exemplify this behavior, like Haris, Safwan, you know, the elder statesmen who you know, they would do anything to just for the shirt, you know. And I think that when the whole team embraces that, like we've seen recently, added with a little bit of football, you know, then I think people quite resonate with that. They quite enjoy that, and so those are in a way our non-negotiables as well. You know, to really understand why we're here, the purpose we serve, the purpose of the national team, and make sure we do, you know, give a performance that people, you know, can be proud of.
I think touching on the Thailand game again, I think it played an important part of building the confidence, not only in the players. I believe the fans, even my mother who do not watch football, suddenly say, "Oh, Singapore actually quite good."
But it's funny because it's like when we arranged for the game to play Malaysia.
Yes, Malaysia too. We played quite well, I thought.
Yeah, but it was quite similar in the sense, like going to this time, like people say, "Oh, why you guys want to play such strong teams?" You know, like because it's like, "Oh, don't you want to play someone else to prepare for this important game?" But I think with the new administration, at least also, we want to try to change our perception of the situation, right? We wanted to prove to ourselves first and foremost that, look, we can compete, right? Are we there yet? Obviously not, because we didn't win both games. Although I think now Malaysia game they have overturned the score, but you know what I'm saying, right? So clearly we can compete, but we're not there yet, and that's good, right? Because we are not a finished product, right? But we need to show to ourselves first that, look, we have good bunch of players, right? And how can we change that narrative in our own heads? Because if we want to try to change the story out there, we need to first change the story in our own heads, if that makes sense. And so the Malaysia game and Thailand game was very important for us to do that.
So you talk a lot to the players to instill this confidence, courage to go out and express themselves and play.
Without giving too much secrets away, obviously we've done a little bit of work, right? It's not just me, it's me and the comms team, me and the technical team, me and the leaders in the team. We have different messages, different content that we use to try to help us understand what we're trying to achieve, you know, and the meaning of the shirt there, because that ultimately the sense of purpose is ultimately the starting point for everything in the national team. So that was always very important to us, and the messaging was very important to help us get there.
That's correct.
One thing to touch on the phrase you heard multiple times already, leaving the shirt in a better place. Maybe you can expound a bit, explain what does that actually mean exactly to you as a national coach?
Yeah, so I think I alluded to it a little bit briefly earlier. It's about when a new coach comes in, he must receive a national team, an organization that's better than when I received it, right? Because then this is how we sustain progress, and then hopefully he does the same. And so this is how the national the organization continue to improve. So like when Coach Ogura first took the national team, right, and to the compared to the day when he left, and the national team that was left behind, it was in a better place, right? Be it tactics, be it performances, be it organization, whatever departments, right? Then my job is to continue that, and then the next guy, hopefully he continues that, and then in years to come, then we will probably see a bigger step of improvement in that regard.
In terms of culture, we can talk a bit about culture. How important is leadership within the squad? I mean, we have core players who are, like you say, elder statesmen. We also have this group of young players. So how important is leadership within the squad? I mean, you can't be with them all the time, not in the dressing room, for example, right? So how does that matter?
Yeah, I think leadership is important not just in football, right? In every organization, in your organization, the leaders are very important. Why? Because the leaders are the ones that give you the direction. And how do we have direction is by knowing our destination first. Once we know where we are going, then the direction becomes very clear. And that's the job of the leaders to do, right? And then at the same time, in order to get to where we want to be, we all need certain set of thoughts and behaviors, right? And leaders are also role models, because we need to practice what we preach, right? So for example, if we know that punctuality is very important, leaders cannot be late. If not, how are you going to hold each other accountable? So stuff like that. That idea of leadership is important because it helps govern the boundaries, so that the team don't behave or think or act in a way that can bring us away from where we want to get to. And if we do get that, if we do, let's say, become a little bit misaligned, which can happen, then our job as leaders also is to bring them back on board again. Hold people accountable and then explain why, and then get them back on.
I guess I'm coming more from the perspective of where training camps for national teams are short, and most of the time the players are with the clubs, right? So I don't know, is there like a leadership within the team that says, hey guys, when we are away from the national team, we still have to make sure we be disciplined, don't eat prata 12 midnight, that kind of thing.
That one your schedule.
Well, no, fair point. I think everybody knows the context of national team. We have 4 or 5 windows together, and each window is like 10 days, and so you've got like 300 days with for the players to be in their club environment. But I think the players have I think they realize this by now, because I nag them so much, right? But
okay, that's new. We never heard that in another podcast. So you nag them a lot.
Yeah, you can ask them. They're probably sick and tired of hearing from me, and now they hear me on podcasts as well. Yeah, so it's like when it comes to behaviors or how you think, there is no like switch. It's not like, I come national team suddenly no, it's behaviors also come from your habits, right? So if you agree that this set of behaviors is beneficial for, let's say, a national team environment, then you need to be behaving in the same way in a club environment, because that will also help you to perform better, right? And you need to perform better because you want to get back to the national team, right? So it's not like there is someone going around each club and then with a cane in a hand and waiting for someone to meet. No, it's not like that. I think here, let's not forget, we're working with adults as well, right? And adults, more often than not, should be self-regulating their behaviors. But obviously, when they need help, when we see that we need to step in to help align a few things, then we, of course we'll do that.
Yeah, on the nagging part, I heard from, I don't know if I should say this, the players the players do share that sometimes you even text them in the early hours in the morning to to give instructions or whatever to watch this. Yes.
I'll text him for him like, I hope you're asleep.
Then if they reply, then there's a test, right?
Exactly. If they blue tick me, I know. The late night messages are more of like me just sending clips for them to watch when they're awake in the morning, especially after games where, you know, me and the staff, we can't sleep anyway. You know, after the game you have so much adrenaline, so much emotion, so we usually work on the clips so that early in the morning the players have got some sort of feedback before we have our main team review together as a squad.
You're asking them to do homework before meeting.
I'm just asking them to watch a few minutes video of themselves, just like they can do for Netflix, so no difference.
One thing to touch on, back to the leaving the share in a better place, I think on that note, it also involves the future of the squad, and of course the future of the squad involves younger players that are coming. I think the concern right now, or some wouldn't call it concern, like there's some of the leaders in the team or the key players in the team are actually in their 30s. Like you mentioned, Haris, Safwan, Shawwal, Izwan, all in their
mid 30s
already. Yep. Leading up to the Asian Cup and even in 2026, do you see that? How are you planning to navigate that?
Yeah, I think if we just look at it more clearly, right? I mean, okay, I think Izwan Haris is my age, so we're 35, and in January 2027 we'll still be 36. Our birthday not here yet, but you know, it's not like we suddenly jump to 39 years old, and then it's all too dramatic in that sense. Same for Safwan and Shawwal, and but ultimately, if you look at it in terms of like, if you like core players, then these are our more older, more rather experienced players. But I'm sure this conversation or this topic was brought up way before that. But now look at it, we have a new group of younger players coming through. You know, your Shah Shahirans, your Hami Shahin, your Stewart brothers, your Fandi brothers, Glenn, you know, Joel, Irfan Najib. You know, so there is a younger next group coming in, guided by these more experienced folks, and it's just a natural thing. You know, once this group, let's say, continue their journey on, then another group will come and fill the void, and this is how we will sustain the pipeline in that sense, right? And because I'm very sure a few years ago or years ago that when Haris and Izwan were younger, then this same conversation was, who will be the next young group? But then here we have the Stewart brothers, who are Jacob Mahler and those guys that are now core the team, right? So yeah, I'm very sure the players will fill the void.
Just I think not a too serious a topic, but just wondering, our players, I think they are technically very good, right? You know, I was just telling Akai, I was watching the semi-finals of the Singapore Cup.
Yeah.
So I watched how
Joel,
his name, the centre midfielder for Tampines Rovers. I'm sure you know him lah. You coached him, right, previously. So he like controlled the midfield, you know, the way he play, and then, you know, he controlled the tempo of the game and everything. I was thinking, I do watch him from time to time, but this time really the whole match I really watched, and I was like, this guy is good. He's really good. But hell, man, if only he's a bit bigger lah. You know? Because once you go to international competition, you know, look at the size difference. So even in SEA Games, right, the under 22 boys versus the Malaysians, I was like, you better check their passports, you know. But is there a way with sports science and stuff these days to make our boys more bigger? If they need mentorship in terms of eating, I mean, we have all the experience and expertise here.
No, I'm sure if we ever arrive to the conclusion that diet is the issue, we'll reach out to you. Right. So you have that on video now. Jokes aside, I think we have got quality individuals like Joel, right? And football has a space for everyone, because I mean, the best players in the world are often not the biggest and strongest, like your Iniestas, your Messis, and you can argue that Joel is kind of the similar build, right? Small but very good at on the ball and all of that. And so when we do have this kind of players, even let's say in the younger age groups, as a coach, then it's about, okay, if he's a little bit tinier and he's not so good in the duels, how can we help him not to, just to avoid duels?
Mm.
You know, because when you avoid duels, then there's no problem. And a lot of times it's by taking less touches on the ball, playing off earlier, so you don't get into contact with them at all. Because you look again, Iniesta and all, they never go into duels, they never expose themselves. So it's about how can we help these players to be successful, right? Rather than just, yeah, you smaller, you got no chance. That can't be right? Because a lot of times they have very, very good qualities that us as coaches need to appreciate. But having said that, then our national team is not quite small. Actually, we are quite a big team. You know, I think set pieces, we back ourselves in set pieces because we have got big guys, man. You know, again, I go back the Funny brothers. They're huge. Stewart brothers are huge. Irfan is good in the air. Shah is okay, and then you know you've got big boy Jordan Amon is big boy as well. You know, so when we, you know, Jacob Mahler as well. So when we closed the games in we were closing the matches in recent games, you know, when we threw on the big guys, because we knew opposition is going to be direct, and so in those moments we would rather have those big guys than the smaller guys. But that's just a consequence of the end state of the game.
Well, just relate a bit of my personal experience lah. He mentioned I played a bit for, it was a Prime League lah, back in the day, right? I was selected for the team after a selection process. Only had 2 touches of the ball, the entire selection, because I was tall, right? I hit it one cross out and one long ball from the goalkeeper. I chested and cleared. 2 touches of the ball, I got selected lah. So those days like about size lah, you need to be big lah, you know. But these days, yeah, I think if I play against Joel or like Jalat lah, I will die. But yeah, so good to hear that we have a plan for the smaller players, because we do have these talents, and you know, I do consume a lot of the Singapore Premier League matches, and we do have a lot of these talents, and you know, hopefully can make our national team stronger with more competition and stuff like that lah. Right? You're not that big also, and you know, you're the.
But I didn't make it.
I'm big, but I didn't make it. So,
so just to prove a few points.
So we talk a bit more about the ecosystem, Singapore football in this segment before we wrap up. You spoke candidly also, I think, previously about structural challenges within the ecosystem lah. So if you can hear from you, what to you are the 2 or 3 biggest constraints that are holding Singapore football back?
It's a tough one, because I think Singapore, like every country, have their own respective challenges, you know. Then and us as an organisation, we are always trying to identify what are the threats that can derail our intentions, you know, to grow as a country, as an organisation. And while we're doing that, every other country also trying to fix their issues and try to progress. And so it's never easy. This is a kind of a race in time. And you know, I think if I just look at us as a national team and the potential impact we can have to help, or hope that we can help the future generations, it's like, can we try to create more nights like the one we had in Hong Kong? Because you look at the impact of that night in Hong Kong, it's just amazing, right? And so many more cover of the game, so much more attention to the game, and that's good, because the public sector is coming in, the private sector is coming in now. The young kids who watch the game are now all inspired, and the question is, can we continue this so that even more people will be on board, and that if we can get this right, then there should be a bigger trickle down effect to the wider ecosystem, right? Because now they have that sustained hope, they know it's possible, they believe in it a little bit more. Then we can sustain momentum, and then, you know, hopefully that will give us that push that we could use in this kind of situations.
I mean, you've been a club coach for several years, so in terms from that perspective, what do you want from what do you need clubs to do? You know, in they're part of the ecosystem, the important part of the ecosystem. So what do you think what do you feel that the clubs need to do?
Yeah, I think I was at Tampines for about 8 years. I mean, you know, national. But when I was in Tampines as a head coach, I realized that national team was such a big help, because every local player wants to play for the national team, you know, and so they are always very, very motivated to perform well, so that they can get a call up, you know. So that in itself, the value of the national team is so important for the players. that daily motivation, that daily drive in that sense, because they want to get called up, they want to be part of the nice stories, they want to be part of representing the country, and that's the story that often we have used to sell, like if you want to get there, come on, we got to train better, we got to push harder, and so that we give ourselves or you give yourselves the best chance to get that call up. And I think with that night in Hong Kong, again, I go back to that, and even more people want to be part of the national team now, and not just at the first team, right? I mean, your COE teams, your younger kids, they all want to be it, and so now I think everybody has a tool to try to reference it for their players, coaches to reference it for their players, and to help guide the kind of behaviors needed to hopefully get there.
But sorry, go ahead.
So of course the standard starts from the players, but from what I'm hearing, the clubs also have a part to play in making sure the standards are there to prepare them for the national team as well.
Yeah, but it's not just the clubs, I think on my press conference I said it quite a bit as well. I think when it comes to the national team is like the tip of the iceberg, right? That's all we see, but that's the consequence of everybody's efforts in Singapore. And the more aligned we are, the more we are improving together, then the national team will have a bigger chance of success. So that's why I've referenced it to like school teachers also. Everybody plays a part. So the night in Hong Kong, whatever we did as a team, Haris was a big contributor, but Haris' journey wouldn't have been possible if not for Coach Kade in the NFA days. It wouldn't be possible if for his teachers in St. Gabriel's. Right, same as Glenn Quay, it's teachers in Victoria School, and so everybody really has a part to play, and the more we get on board together, the more we're in this journey together, then
I mean, speaking of Glenn Quay, we should profile him a bit more, so that parents know that you can actually excel in both sports and in studies, right? He's a unique grad, right?
Yeah, so Glenn, I think it's in business. He got a degree in business in NUS. Yeah, he did it while his time in Tampines. Yeah.
But you spoke about Tampines. I think Tampines is, a big club. If you in Singapore, context of Singapore, right? How about the smaller clubs? So do the players have the same level of motivation? Because you don't see a lot of players from, let's say, Balestier, Hougang. Now we see more from Hougang, but you know what I mean. Representing the national team,
Yeah, ultimately when it comes to the national team, we are often looking for the players that we think fit the best for the national team in that moment to contribute to what we want to do on the pitch, right? So that's the starting point, and we watch every game in the SPL, right? Live in person. All games live in person. We always have someone somewhere, and when in the club setting, I think motivation is never an issue because everybody wants to do well, because when they do well, there are many knock-on effects, right? The club does better, they get more attention, potentially maybe better contracts or next contract or another club, or and then obviously national team is one of them to get attention. So I've watched every game, and there's no difference. Everybody's always trying their best. Everybody wants to win because we all play the game to win anyway, right? So if someone's on the pitch with lack of desire to win, then the coach probably wouldn't have played him already to begin with. So that has never been an issue. So we'll continue our process of observing, evaluating, monitoring, and then when each window arrives, then we will decide on who is the best for that state that we're in that period.
I mean, it's tough. Football is a team sport, and there's a lot of complexities that goes with it. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the under 22 performance in the SEA Games. I think personally for me, we weren't expecting much from the team. I thought that we watched them in the SPL. Of course, they had foreigners in the SPL, and I think they are a good team, but you need to be exposed more in order to compete in a competition like the SEA Games. That's how I feel. So, but I think recently, the SNOC SecGen spoke about quite critical of the under 22 team. How do you feel about that kind of comments from our boys? In the hearts of heart, I think they tried their best. Right? They fell way short. But how do you feel about that kind of criticism openly?
I mean, to be honest, with regards to this topic, I think as an organisation we'll be holding a press conference on Friday.
Yeah.
To engage with the media and address all of these issues. And right now, it is always best to hear from the people involved directly about their thoughts, and then make your evaluations from there. I think sometimes it's too easy for us to have knee-jerk reactions like me now. Like it's not the best time for us to come to any conclusions. So my suggestion is let's have the press conference on Friday, and then again let's have an open discussion after.
Maybe words of encouragement from the national coach. The under-22 boys are going to be potentially future national team players. So words of encouragement from them. They're feeling down reading this kind of comments.
I've worked with quite a few of them. I think a few of them have been with us in the national team before, and I think they know my stance of things. Right? If you want to open yourself to social media, then you cannot just be there for the good times. You have to accept the bad times. If you don't want to be affected by the bad times, don't use social media. It's just as simple as it is. Because ultimately, our job as players and coaches is to be in the moment and do everything we can to be a better version of ourselves. Ultimately, everything that's coming from social media is just external. Then it's our job to decide what kind of impact the external effects can have on us, right? So that's very, very important. And again, going back to the point that they've worked with us for a while now, or quite a bit now, they know that we're always monitoring them regardless, right? We're always watching them, and the process goes on. We've been watching them since the start of the season to now, so we're not just evaluating them just over a couple of games.
Sure. Okay.
I think
anything else?
Before that, I think I just remembered during the press conference unveiling you as the head coach. Forrest did mention about having this wish list, jokingly or not, but asking you to reveal secrets again. What would be in that wish list that Forrest mentioned about?
You really Yeah, bigger contract, bigger house, bigger car. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. So, people who know me, I'm really all about the project, and right here we are very clear with our intention, which is we want to prepare the best possible way for Asian Cup, right? So, then obviously with Asian Cup as the starting point, and we work backwards, right? Then we've got some ideas of who we want to play, where we want to be for some sort of camps, and then the kind of stuff that we want to bolster our technical team with, the medical team with, and all these little things adds up. We need more resource, right? So these are the conversations that I've had with Forrest and the gang, and they've always been very supportive, and we are still trying to navigate our way to find the best solution for this idealistic plan that I have.
So what's the plan?
I cannot tell you everything. Later the opponents listen.
Okay, alright. Okay, we shall move on to talking a bit more personal stuff about you lah. Going back to the Hong Kong match. Amira, you can show. Yes, can. Yes. We have something to show you lah on the screen. Just for you to react to it. Huh?
Hello. What's going on?
Yes, please, yeah.
Nothing bad.
So,
oh my goodness.
Were you ready for this photo?
Do you have this photo in your?
I have this photo.
So who shared this photo with me at the night after the Hong Kong match? Kadir, Coach Kadir. So he's WhatsApp me this photo and he said it's a poignant moment lah. Because this was a Hong Kong invitation under 15. Haris was captain and you were there. And fast forward 20 years later,
and then Izon is
so fast forward 20 years later, you guys made history in Hong Kong lah.
And you know what's the funny thing actually? We played in this invitational tournament, right? I think the other teams that were involved were Hong Kong, ourselves, Japan, and I'm not sure, maybe it might be UAE, but the Japan coaching national coach was Ogura.
Oh really?
Yeah, but obviously he didn't remember any of us because we weren't good enough.
But you guys won a medal, right? It's just like
I think we got third place in that, so it's quite nice. Yeah.
So looking at this photo, Haris is there, Izwan is there, yourself is there.
Yeah.
And going back to that night in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
does that give you different kind of feeling, or like, things go to how the world works, right?
No, it's amazing. I mean, I've said this quite a few times with Haris as well. It's like, first and foremost, they were all very good players, right? And I wasn't as good as them, and so I went into coaching a lot earlier, right? But when I started coaching, I never thought that one day I would be a professional coach. Then when I became a professional, I never thought I would be a national coach. So I never once thought I would be coaching my teammates, and the joke was often I always had to listen to Haris, but now I get to tell him what to do. Right? But it's funny how life works, and it's just amazing that I got to share those wonderful memories with them on that pitch that night. I still remember quite clearly how we felt, or how I felt, and what I saw is just top.
What? How do you play in this tournament? Do you remember?
Yeah,
Scored some goals?
No, I'm playing either full back or in midfield or centre back. I fill in the gaps, as they say.
So I texted back Kadi. I said, how was Gavin as a player?
Oh no.
So he said, even back then, I don't know whether he wayang or not now, but I said, even back then, he said you were very good at reading the game. So he said that doesn't mean that he thought back then that you're going to be a good coach, but he said 15-year-olds have a certain mentality out there to play, have fun, show their skills, and express themselves. But he said Gavin knows how to read the game.
That's often what they say for not so good players.
Yeah, but speaking of Kadi, how was Kadi? How did he have any influence on your coaching career? He was coaching with you together at Tampines while you were going through your license.
Yeah. So. I started. I knew Kadi when I was, I think, 13 or 14, like quite young, and I think when we were quite early, me, Haris, Hafiz, we trained early on with Kadi. So that was my first experience with him, and back then the version of Kadi is very different from now. Probably not like me saying this, but last time we would be scared of him. We fear for our lives with him, and now the fact that we can chat with him like a friend is just so amazing. And then he mentored my initial stages at Tampines while I was going through the licenses, and he was just a very good sounding board, because oftentimes individuals in that position could try to influence you. Because they might think that they know more than you, better than you, but not with Kadi. Kadi was just there supporting me, protecting me, and for that I'm forever grateful to that man. So he is definitely one of those role models that have been with me along the journey since the very start.
You started coaching professionally quite early, 28, was it?
Yeah.
So what mistakes did you make that in those early days that shape you as a coach today?
Oh, I've made so many mistakes, and this is something I often tell the players, right? Like, as coaches, we also make mistakes, and I will be the first one to stand up and acknowledge them, right? Because we're on this journey together. So I won't be perfect, and I do reflect a lot after every training, after every game, about what we did, how we did as a team, and my performance as a coach. Often that is always the starting point. How did I perform? And then there are things that I always realize, I should have done this, I shouldn't have said that, I should have said this better, I should have planned a different session, stuff like that. So there are many learnings that I've taken along the way when I try to critically evaluate my experience in that sense.
We did a podcast, a Kaki Bola podcast, speaking with some former national players currently still playing in the league, and some who have retired, former captains, where we talk about one of the topics talk about Zula. That time wasn't announced yet. And a lot of them, I must say, during that podcast, felt that you deserve to be part of the setup because you achieved so much that nobody else has ever achieved, but they are not sure about you being a head coach going to the Asia Cup. So I guess, I'm sure you know that. I'm sure there are, while we celebrate your appointment, we are very happy. I think there are also people who say, hey, Gavin, at this age, can he
Yeah.
So do you have that how do you prepare yourself for these kind of doubts that may seep in a gonna be a very difficult year, I'm sure?
No, first and foremost, I think I've said this in another podcast. I seem quite calm and composed outside, but inside the head is always quite messy and chaos. Sometimes it's not easy, sometimes it's difficult, but that's just the life of a coach. You just got to deal with it. But when individuals bring up when people bring up the idea of the age, right? Then again, I just go back to the point. I started coaching very, very young. So in terms of coaching years, same mate, and ultimately, like when we evaluate players, we don't look at their age first, right? We just look at their ability first. We look at, for coaches, what is your knowledge, what are your competencies, and stuff like that. And I know that I would back myself because I have invested a lot of resource into my journey to improve, to study, to learn, and still doing so. I'm still on online courses now. Nothing has changed, and because I just want to be a better coach, and I have this to fall back on, to know that I have the tools to help the team, right? But will I be perfect? No. Will anybody be perfect? No, right? And that is something just a continual process for every coach.
Does that give you an added motivation, like say, oh, I'm so young,
Prove this burgers
prove people wrong?
No, I don't go out and set my day off by saying, okay, I'm going to prove this person. No, I don't do that, because ultimately, just like when I've received a lot of very kind praises from outside, I try not to validate myself with them, because the moment if I want to be validated externally, then I'll be exposed to the criticisms as well. And so I don't want to live my life like a roller coaster. So I just, more important for me is the evaluations of people that are closest to me, that people that matter to me. Yeah.
Nice, Coach. You spoke about Coach Kari and stuff. Are there people who you call to when things go wrong? I mean, like,
people call me when things go wrong. No, I cannot.
In football, I mean,
No, yeah. Well, so now we're on the topic of mentors, right? So obviously Coach Kade is one, and in fact I think last night we were texting each other. I don't know for what, but yeah, we're texting. So he's always there. There are many people in football that have helped me along the way, and that's why I often say this. I'm kind of very, very lucky, probably the luckiest guy. So from Alex Weaver, last time from Warriors, we're still in touch very often. So he's always a good sounding board. But my mentors are not just for people in the game. It's also the non-coaches, if you like, like Harvey Davis, Desmond Ong, and my wife. This journey as a head coach is not easy, really, really not easy, because when you don't win, it's like it's like the worst day. It's such a bad feeling, and oftentimes without that support from my wife, trying to move on can be quite tough inside. And so, yeah. Although I stand in front of everybody, I'm backed by many individuals, and that's why I have no problem, and I feel that it's the right thing to do, to give credit to everyone who has helped me along the way.
I think after the game at Hong Kong, you mentioned the first thing you want to do was like call your wife.
Yeah.
What was the conversation like? I was like, oh, baby, I won.
Well, I don't call it baby lah. But no,
his own wife.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so no, it was my journey as a coach, I have had a lot of setbacks, a lot of difficult moments, a lot of tough times, and the one constant so far is my wife, right? And so when I have that special moment, and she's the first person I want to share with, and so yeah, I kind of FaceTime her, but then she was at our friend's place. So I was like, oh, okay.
Hello. She watching the match?
Yeah, she was watching the match with her friends. So I said, okay, yeah, we qualified, okay, bye. Then I'll talk to you again. Play it cool. Yeah, play it cool a little bit. Yeah, and then the second person I called was Coach Ogura. And it was just nice to share that moment with him as well.
Nice. Is your wife a football fan?
She claims to be, but I think at this point she's more of a Gavin fan.
That's good enough for her.
That's good enough for me.
Alright, anything else?
I guess I just wanted to know, if you were to take away Gavin as a head coach, Gavin from football, what are you like as a person outside of football? How would you describe yourself as?
It's a tough one because I'm always in football. It's very, very tough one. I don't know. It's because all my life I've been in football, so the version of me is closely knitted to football in that sense. But if you take away football, then I hope I'm still the same. I hope I'm still the same inquisitive person and hopefully someone that wants to improve and you know just want to be better in whatever I do. You know, I hope so, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, we'll know one day.
Football is life. You know what I'm hearing?
Exactly, football is life.
Nice. I mean, listening to you, I mean, like, I think I it's such a honor and pleasure speaking to you today. And
Thank you.
Listening to you, I think the Singapore national football team are in good hands. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
In the next 12-13 months leading up
Thank you.
to the Asian Cup. Hopefully, we'll see you more beyond that with you know, continue on this success journey of Lions that I think we all love. We all love to support the Lions. And congrats on your appointment again, and all the best, Gavin.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having
All
me.
the best.
Thanks.